Hey, and welcome to Couch Conversations on Worship. Today, I have my pastor, Rob Dowdle, joining us today. Excited for this interview, excited to see his take on a few of these topics for worship today. So, before we get started, tell us a little about yourself and your history in worship.
I'm Rob Dowdle. This is the second church that I've pastored full time. First church for 8 years, and I've been here for
Pretty close.
almost 6 years. I think.
Okay.
Close to it, something like that. In high school, I played in the praise band.
Okay.
Church I grew up in, First Baptist, Columbus, Mississippi, and somehow got rooked into doing that here
As well. Yeah. Small church, many hats. That's kind of my motto here at this church. What did you play in high school?
I started out on the piano and then went to the keyboard.
Okay.
And then actually jumped to the bass guitar, not because I have a long history of playing any kind of instrument other than the keyboard or piano, but because we had 4 keyboard or piano players and no bass guitarist.
Necessity. I understand. Okay. And here you play piano. Yes, you were roped into that as well. Like I said, small church, many hats.
In the churches I've served, I've worked with worship pastors or choir directors or whatever, but not from the perspective of an instrumentalist.
Yeah. So this is good. This is good. I get to ask you now from 2 different aspects. From the viewpoint of a pastor first, what makes a good worship pastor?
Thinking deeply and analytically about the songs, but also just the character of the worship pastor as well. If you have someone who is, of course, mean, I mean, that not that there are a lot of mean ministers necessarily, but I mean,
Yes.
the character of the individual is critical as well. I think someone who has the position and is trying to serve others, not just put on a performance.
Okay. So from a band member point of view, what makes a good worship pastor?
I don't know. I've never worked with one. No, so
Noted.
no, having someone who is committed, as the band members are, is meaningful primarily because you want someone who's not just performing the task but is actually passionate about it. Being able to, I think, understand where each of the instrumentalists are coming from. A lot of times, I took piano lessons when I was in high school and elementary school, and learned the more classical way of taking piano. Can't read music a lick anymore. I can work it out eventually, but I can't make my fingers do what I want to do. But at the same time, it's so difficult sometimes as a pianist, to know not just what chords I'm playing, but the musicality sometimes of what I do need to be doing or don't need to be doing. And I think a lot of instrumentalists just don't really know what the worship pastor wants from them. Sometimes, like with you, for example, you're very, very clear. Hey, I want you to do this and die out here.
Mm-hmm.
That level of specificity is wonderful because, hey, I know what I'm supposed to do. At other times, I think you have an idea, but sometimes you just want to say, well, let's see what crazy shenanigan Rob or Dave or whoever comes up with. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah.
Most of our practices, I spend more time goofing up just because I'm trying different.
Trying out. Yeah, that's what. Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of it, that's what practice time is for. Now, obviously, the worship pastor wants you to have your parts known going into practice. And practice is to be, we're trying all this to make sure it all fits together. But a lot of times with our band, I like to, since we've been playing together for so long, and we rarely have new people join in, that kind of thing. We all know typically what each person is going to do and how they, especially like with our drummer, we know exactly when he's going to build and when he's going to fade out. It's just, we kind of know how he plays. So when we come into practice on Wednesday nights, I think it's fun to just kind of experiment a lot with the song and say, okay, I know we've played it this way every single time. Now let's change the tempo. Let's do this. Let's pretend it's this kind of genre of music and play something different. Just see what happens. Because I think that spontaneity is really fun sometimes, and it could lead to a really, really powerful way to play the song.
Yeah, and even if it doesn't, I mean, many times we do something like that. Most of the time when we do something like that, it doesn't play out.
No.
And it doesn't work. But one thing that it does do that I find really interesting is it gives me the opportunity to try something, and I think, you know what, that doesn't work on this song,
right?
But I bet on this type of song, it may work, and sometimes it does, and it gives us kind of the opportunity to try out new things.
Yeah.
That if it doesn't pay off in the immediate song, it certainly in other songs it does. One of the songs that we've done, my goodness, it's probably Promises is probably the song that we've done the most in the last couple of years. You're the nerdy geek that keeps up with the statistical data, but
yes,
it's really only in the last 5 or 6 times that we've played it that I've actually gotten to figured out the part that I want to play in some of the verses. And it adds a lot to the song, but had we not goofed around, and it wasn't with Promises, it was with some other song, I don't even remember what it was now, but had we not messed around, trying different parts and trying stuff that we thought me crazy, I never would have thought that it would have worked with Promises, and I had that trigger.
That's right.
And when we played it, I don't know, it was probably 2 months later when we played it again because we've been playing it so much, but that's the kind of stuff that sparks some creativity, I think. It's hard because sometimes I want to play the same way, or the same 3 or 4 different ways on every song, but it's figuring out kind of the musicality of the song and what other band members are doing that really shape how I play. But I'm really just now beginning to figure out how to play with a band.
Yeah. Oh well. Yeah, I understand. I am as well. To be honest with you, it's been a learning experience over the past 6 years, like you said, learning how to do this. Since 2017, I think, and we're starting to grasp, I think, an understanding of how to play not only with each other but with other band members.